Hello, folks. This is Alan for today's news. I will be reading and speaking about world's news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. And what I got for you here, I was talking about North Korea. I was wondering about them because the news was so quiet on them. And this came up from the New York Times. It says North Korea drones breach border, triggering alarms in South. Several drones from North Korea crossed the heavily armed western border into South Korean airspace on Monday, provoking military actions by Seoul at a time of rising tensions on the peninsula. After the drones breached the border, the South Korean military scrambled fighter jets to try to shoot them down and sent its own surveillance drones into the North's airspace. It also banned commercial airplanes from taking off at two international airports around Seoul for about an hour. North Korea has a history of sending surveillance drones into South Korean airspace, with several detected since 2014. But it is rare for the South to respond to their intrusion by dispatching warplanes. And I think the tensions are getting high because of China and Russia, especially Russia. It says here, tensions have hit new heights this year on the Korean peninsula as the North stepped up its nuclear program and fired a record number of missiles. The United States and its allies, South Korea and Japan, have followed by strengthening their joint military drills. When the North Korean drones crossed over the border on Monday, just west of Seoul, and the South Korean military broadcast warnings, later firing warning shots from warplanes and scrambling attack helicopters into the air. The South also said its aircraft were on a mission to shoot down the North Korean drones, though it did not reveal whether any of them were taken out. And you can read about the rest of this. Anyway, after this article popped up, I done some search here and came up with this here. I'll let you hear it.
Pyongyang has sold rockets to Russian mercenaries known as the Wagner Group. The British government says the group has some 20,000 mercenaries fighting in Ukraine. And National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says the group is spending more than $100 million per month in Ukraine. Let's bring in Joel Rubin, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under President Obama. Joel, thanks for coming in today and happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays, Anita.
Thank you. I wonder if I could have you start by explaining to our viewers what the Wagner Group is. They are described as a private paramilitary organization, like a private army of Vladimir Putin. Is that correct?
Yeah, you've got it right. The Wagner Group is a mercenary group. It's a private army that is essentially run by the best friend and chef of Vladimir Putin. Ironically, a chef is the world's leading mercenary, but they have conducted vile operations throughout Syria and Africa at the behest of Russia. And they are now in Ukraine, as you described. And it's this confluence with North Korea, where North Korea is providing weapons to the Wagner Group to fight on behalf of Russia, because Russia right now is desperate. And that's the key thing. The Wagner Group is trying to replace Russian troops. They're emptying the jails. These convicts are now going out as cannon fodder in the war zone. So the Wagner Group is really the worst of the worst, and that's what Vladimir Putin is now relying on.
Yeah, that is awful. They are trying to trade action on the front lines for the freedom of these prisoners, is what I understand.
So they're letting prisoners out of prison just to fight for them, for their freedom. And North Korea is selling weapons. Okay, let's go to something else right now. Here's one here from Business Insider. Excuse me. A Tesla driver watched in honor as another Tesla burst into flames after hitting a barrier. A Tesla driver watched in horror, not honor, in horror as another Tesla hit a barrier and burst into flames. Josh Kaplan was driving on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles when he encountered the crash. The driver of the other Tesla told Kaplan he was using its autopilot system at the time. Josh Kaplan was driving his Tesla Model X on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles last month when he saw a vehicle ahead of him had suddenly stopped. I noticed a car facing left against the barrier, despite the road veering into the right, he told Insider. He realized that vehicle was also a Tesla and had smoke coming from it. In the time it took me to call 911, it caught fire. It kind of looked like sparklers going off, Kaplan said. He got out and spoke to the driver of the crash Tesla, who was not injured in the incident. The driver told Kaplan he had his 2018 Model X in autopilot, but it suddenly veered hard to the left and stopped against the wall. Kaplan bought his Tesla about 4 months ago with 6,000 miles on the clock, but said it has been a complete disappointment. Software notwithstanding, the fit and finish are miserable. So anybody buying electric cars, Tesla, don't trust the automatic pilots. you know. Anyway, here's something else here from Metro. Truth behind mysterious hexagon in Australia that can be seen from space revealed. In case people are interested in this. Truth behind the mysterious hexagon in Australia that can be seen from space revealed. From a few years now, people have stumbled across a huge hexagon formation on the Australian coastline, visible from space. This mysterious shape can be seen on Google or Apple Maps by anyone with an internet connection. Show you a picture of it better. Truth behind, okay, despite wishful internet thinking that it's some kind of Area 51 style secret base, it is in fact a military faculty. It's called the Harold E. Holt Naval Station and is operated by the Australian Department of Defense on behalf of the Australian and the United States governments. The Naval's station job is to send radio signals to U.S. Navy and Royal Australian Navy ships and submarines in the Western Pacific Ocean and the Eastern Indian Ocean. Still got my code going on. It's considered to be the most powerful transmission station in the Southern Hemisphere. And yeah, I already told you about Metro. It said here, according to the book Raven Rock, which details presidential, military, and policy history, author Garrett Graff claims the station is made up of 13 radio towers. The tallest tower, 0, sits in the middle, while 6 other towers are placed in the hexagon around it. That's a commercial there. And that's it for that one there. So now you know what it is. What's this one here popped up here? Is it from the Daily Digest? An intercepted phone conversation revealed just how badly Russian soldiers are suffering. For months, Ukrainian authorities have been tapping into the private phone conversations of Russian soldiers and revealing their true thoughts about the war, as well as a dysfunction that seems to be dominating Putin's army. A recently released phone call between a Russian serviceman known as Audrey and his mother was reported on by the Guardian's Daniel Buffet, I don't know, and this other person, and it's illustrated just how bad the situation has gotten for those fighting on the front. No food, no drinks, no puddles. No food or drinks for puddles. And so no one feeds us anything. Mom Audrey complained, adding that the supply situation was very bad, to be honest, and that he was drawing water from puddles to use as his drinking water. Sound like they're really having a bad time over there. Putin banned phone use while on duty. Back in May, Putin signed a decree banning soldiers from carrying smartphones or any electronic devices capable of giving away sensitive location data or transmitting audio and video material in order to cut down on information leaks from the front. But Putin's ban hasn't stopped soldiers from, like Audrey, from carrying personal phones onto the battlefield and feeding critical intel to the armed forces of Ukraine about the morale of Russian troops. Where are the missiles that Putin boasted about? Audrey asked. There is a high rise building right in front of us. Our soldiers can't hit it. We need one caliber cruise missile, and that's it. Well, Audrey comments may seem mundane, they offer a compelling insight into the minds of the soldiers, questioning the invasion and the lack of supplies needed to fight war successfully. Yeah, they're not even feeding them. If I were them, I'd quit. I'd say, kill me. Another conversation shared with Bofi and Sar between a father and his friend of his dead son revealed that just how terrible the situation was for some soldiers. When asked by Andre giving father about the condition of the soldier who survived the fight with Ukraine forces, one soldier responded that there were no reinforcement or no communication. They said we weren't allowed to retreat, otherwise we may be shot. The soldier said, a sentiment that truly showed just how wrong things have gone for the Russians in Ukraine. So if they don't get killed fighting, well, the Russians were going to kill them for retreating. Bofi and Sauter also share a third intercepted conversation from another soldier who was contemplating surrendering while speaking with his wife. I'm in a sleeping bag, all wet, coughing. Generally, you know what up. Uh, F up anyway. The soldier said, we were all allowed to be slaughtered. Yeah, Putin don't care. Putin's behind his desk. He don't care. Quotes criticizing the war are a dime a dozen these days, with thousands of Russian soldiers calling home and from the battlefield or explaining to their loved ones what really happening in the snow-swept plains of Ukraine. Vast, steep. Anyway, you can read about the rest of this later. Oh, let's see. Here's something from Daily Dot. They don't even be trying. Customers say male Instacart shopper substitute onion for green apple. Now, why would somebody do like that? I don't care if it's a guy or not. You don't do that. There's a theory among Instacart customers that male Instacart shoppers are markedly worse than the female shoppers. The theory states that male shoppers are more likely to simply say an item is out of stock rather than look for it, misunderstand an order, or they will reject substitutions for reasons that were unknown to the customer. Several users on TikTok have gone viral after sharing a similar sentiment. In one case, a user claimed that a shopper told her frozen meatballs were out of stock and rejected her substitution. When she arrived at the store the next day, the meatballs were in fact in stock, and an employee informed her that they had also been in stock for the day before. Let's see if we can watch this here. Let me.
We don't like men Instacart shoppers. This was a substitution for a green apple.
Any idiot would know better than that. Female or male, it don't matter. Anyway, you can read about the rest of this later. My time getting close. China plans to kill F-22 stealth fighter in a war. This is from come on, computer. 1945. Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor is respected for its dogfighting ability as much as the air-to-air maneuverability attributes, especially when compared to any other potential rival. Solely operated by the United States Armed Forces, the Raptor was developed as part of the service's Advanced Tactical Fighter program 2 decades ago. The aircraft was developed as an air superior fighter that could also be capable of ground attack, electronic warfare, and signals intelligence. Let's see what else they had to say here. Chinese media also highlighted that the fact that the U.S. Air Force data show that heat-seeking missiles accounted for 90% of the aircraft loss in the 1980s. Yeah. Anyway, this is probably old news. Anyway, it's nothing up to date. It's just information. It's what it is. You can read about the rest of this later. Here's something here from MarketWatch. IRS pauses rule requiring people to report PayPal, Venmo transactions over $600. Here's what went wrong. I know y'all heard about that $600 rule. It says avert taxpayer confusion in the upcoming tax season. The IRS is delaying a rule that would have required e-commerce sites and payment platforms like eBay, Etsy, and PayPal to send out tax paperwork to a much wider swath of people in 2023. Beginning next year, payments platforms were supposed to send tax form known as a Form 1099-K to people who receive at least $600 via these transaction sites and payment platforms. The forms are typically figured when a recipient receives at least $20,000 and has at least 200 transactions. E-commerce businesses, excuse me, accountants, and other pursued a higher threshold, saying the batch of paperwork would be an administrative headache for companies and backlog IRS and also stir up confusion among taxpayers. These groups applaud the pause announced Friday. Anyway, you can read about the rest of this in my description box. There's something from Refresh Lifestyle International. Legal hides the legal intoxicant claims its victim. Why should you grow old when you can die young? Says Britton Baxter and Dan Reed's documentary. Let's see, chemist nerds become drug lords. While legal drugs in the UK and already as much as part of the party night as fake lashes, skirts, and other fare too short and the paint. There are now also a whole host of tempting legal substance in Germany, such as whatever that is, and already reported, according to a statement by Star TV, about 200 different legal drugs were in circulation in 2014. The herbal mixture, tub cleaners, and bath salts are freely available on the internet. The people behind these products have a frightening amount in common with meth cook Walter White from Breaking Bad. And that's because with the synthetic composition of legal highs, chemist nerds are the new drug lords, tapping into the chemical research literature to manufacture them. So does Dr. C, who is considered the inventor of the drug methadone. He used to design molecules for the major corporation, now for the drugs scene. In the documentary Legally High, of his new work with childlike enthusiasm as he would of a tricky challenge in chemistry exam. Okay, so they're still making that stuff. You heard about bath salts and stuff. It's just not good for you. Here's something from CNET in case people want to know. This will be my last one I'm going to read. So, yeah, your Wi-Fi router is in the wrong place. Here's where to move it. I was reading this earlier. They're saying that the higher up the router, the better reception you'll get because the waves goes down, doesn't go up. Ours in the basement, but anyway. And to say if you got antennas, you don't put the antennas the same way. You put them different ways. They said, see, let me read part of it. There's the massive headache if you work from home. If you're trying to install a smart home gadget, or if you just trying to unwind with some Netflix at the end of the day. The good news is there's an easy way to optimize your Wi-Fi network and address these issues. It's only take a few minutes. There's a lot of factors that determine internet speeds, and while there are a few tricks of guidelines you can follow to improve the overall wireless speeds, wireless of your router. And note, the best place is not always where the technician sets it up. So keep reading to learn more about the best places for your home. And I was reading down here. It said choose the right. Let's see. They said they got newer routers out too for 201.1, 1AX, and Wi-Fi 6 technologies. And let's see, I guess you heard about the mesh network that spreads the Wi-Fi further out than your home. And see where I read the other thing at. My time's over. So when you first move into a new home or apartment, the modem is usually installed along the wall in one of the four reaches of your house. This is simply because that is where the line comes into the house, and the technician's job is to set up the connection, not optimize your network. That part is up to you. It's tempting to just leave everything where the technician set it up. Most people do, but it's unlikely that this is an optimal location to have your router. The choose is a central location. It said raise your router. Router tends to spread their strongest signal downward, so it's best to mount the router as high as possible. Avoid other electronics, like don't put it behind radios and television and stuff. Said those funny looking antennas, do they actually matter? Some routers have no antennas at all, and some have up to 8. These antennas help direct the signals, and there are 2 or more antennas on your router. Don't position them on the same direction. Instead, make them perpendicular to one another. Position one horizontally and the other one vertically, or slightly change its position. of the antennas to cover a wide range of angles. You may have to experiment a bit for it to be effective. Anyway, that's all I'm going to read to you today. Hope I didn't bore you too much. And try to have a nice day. And like, subscribe, share, comment. Until tomorrow. Later.